Honestly, the funniest thing to me about the Savannah Chrisley video is her saying that she got a call from Trump right when she walked into a Sam's Club. Like, there is a specific type of white person who goes to Sam's Club and not Costco. And the tears rolling down her face, she's like, oh, she's like, she fell to her knees in this Sam's Club. Like, I can't. Am I happy for them? Of course. I hate to see a white family torn apart, you know? Like, what do you, like, I don't root for that in life, but it is a little all silly. It all is a little bit silly. Like, cause wasn't the tax evasion true? Like, wasn't that happening with the Chrisleys? I don't know. You tell me, but who am I to stand between a family and a jail cell? It's just not my style. It's just not my style. I'm just as happy for you, Savannah. I'm sure you've been working really hard the past 4 months with this administration at your beck and call. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be nasty. But I had to be nasty.
You do the crime, you do the time. Unless you white and you kiss Trump's ass, then apparently you get out early. So first things first, if you didn't know, the Chrisleys are getting a new reality show on Lifetime. Originally, it was said that Julie and Todd were going to phone in from jail because, you know, they're locked up to do the show. But lo and behold, apparently they're going to be able to do it in person because y'all president done pardoned them. So they are getting out of jail without serving their full term, of course. I think they both served about 2 years. Now, mind you, I am an OG Chrisley watcher. I literally watched the premiere of the first season. You know, it was about people with money, so of course they had me tuned in. But soon as it came out that they were some Trump supporters, I was like, oh girl, they can all choke. And the fact that they're raising that black girl like she white, it just don't sit right with me because she's gonna be in for a rude awakening. I guess congrats to them. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, even though they are Trump supporters, I probably am gonna tune into that first episode just to see what it gives. But please don't fire me up in the comments. I completely understand. I'm a part of the problem, I know.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joy Report. In today's video, we're going to talk about black folks' mixed reactions to Todd Chrisley being released early from prison and him calling out the justice system. Todd Chrisley is back in the headlines, not just because he's out of prison earlier than expected, but because of what he had to say once he walked out of those doors. The former reality star from Chrisley Knows Best is now using his platform to talk about racial inequality in the prison system. But while some people are applauding his honesty, others are saying, we've been new. His comments have sparked a range of reactions, especially within the black community, where many are questioning the timing, the motive, and the privilege that allowed him to speak on these issues after being released early. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing so that YouTube may recommend it to a wider audience. And so now, without further ado, guys, let's go straight into this video. But first, let me play you a few videos on this matter, and I'll come back with my commentary. As a side note, all credit goes to the creators of these videos.
Y'all heard what Todd said about black folks after being pardoned by Trump? Listen.
This is a long shot because so many people are told no. And being in the prison system, anyone that says that it's a fair shake, it's not. Because I dealt with young African American males in the prison that I was in that were not treated the same. They were denied programming. They were denied access to certain things. I was not denied that, but we know why I wasn't denied that. And so I think that is a much bigger picture that we all as a society as a whole need to look at, that we are one. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, at the end of the day, when you're in that hospital, you don't care if it's a Democrat treating you or a Republican. Now, some of you may, but I want whoever's going to be the best.
This does not warrant an invite to the cookout. Because like my granny and them always said, you're not finna get rewarded for doing some shit you supposed to do. He supposed to acknowledge the inequalities in the system. Just think about it. How many folks look like us you think locked up for the same exact thing he was, but they waiting on commissary and a release date? We only represent about 14% of the general population. Our community represents 38% of the federal prison population. They both got pardoned, and I hope that when they rubbing shoulders with them Trump supporters, they're able to keep in mind that no matter how much them folks engaged in color blindness, they seen the racial inequality for themselves. But maggots always love to ask, can you name anything that I can do as a white person that you can't do as a black person? Shit, ask Todd. I'ma start saying that from now on. Education is elevation.
Todd Chrisley don't get no cookie from me. We're on here talking about how black men are treated unfairly in the prison system. Is water wet? Tell me something we don't know. He got off scot-free for stealing $30 million while black people are sitting in prison for dime bags. Statistically proven that black people are getting larger, harsher sentences. They commit the same crime as non-black people. He gets off on Fed charges all because he's a celebrity? Ever since the 13th Amendment, the federal government has been trying to find ways to bring back slavery. And once they realized they could do that through mass incarceration, people have been silent about it. But when we come on here and talk about it, we're playing the victim or we're throwing a pity party. Ever since that press conference has come out, everyone's like, oh, he did something wrong, but he has a good heart. Let a black man steal $30 million and Joe Biden free them. We wouldn't hear the end of it. But he gets off all because he tells jokes on a reality TV show? Make it make sense, people. Not to mention he gets freed the exact same week. They make the largest cuts to Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps. Instead of the news covering that, they're covering a comedian getting freed from jail. All because he's funny and thank you.
Everybody know Todd Chrisley got a pardon from Trump. And when he did his press conference, he exposed the jail system, y'all. He spoke on the inequalities of the black man who was in the same prison as him. He said he got to do things that he never seen black men in there do or have the chance to do. He said this shit is not fair. He seen it firsthand. He said these black men were denied access to certain things or certain programs. He said, and when it came to him, he wasn't. They allowed him to do it. He said, everybody know why, right? Because of his skin color. And you really got people out here talking about, that's not true. Everybody in prison get treated the same. No, they don't. He just told you.
I'll be honest, I might have unfairly judged Todd Chrisley. When he said the feds got effed, I thought it was about arrogance. But when I heard what he said about the justice system, now I think I see it a little bit differently. But just hear me out. While he was serving time at Pensacola Federal Prison Camp, Todd said he noticed a major difference in how black inmates were being treated in comparison to him. He said young black men were constantly being denied access to self-betterment programs he was allowed into with no issue. And he even admitted, you know why, I wasn't denied that. So when he said the feds got effed, maybe it wasn't him being cocky. Maybe it was him calling out a broken system, one that dishes out harsh consequences based on race and class. It doesn't excuse everything, but it does give more context to that comment and more weight than I gave it before, or even gave him credit for. Honestly, I think this shows growth. He got a second chance, and instead of him running to the cameras, he's speaking out about what he saw behind bars. Because if someone with privilege is using their platform to say, hey, this system is unfair, we need to listen.
Let's rewind a bit. Todd and his wife Julie Chrisley were convicted in 2022 on charges of bank fraud and tax evasion involving over $30 million in fraudulent loans. Todd was sentenced to 12 years and Julie to 7, and they both began serving time in January of 2023. Now, barely halfway through his sentence, Todd has been granted a presidential pardon by DT. While many folks are still sitting behind bars for crimes far less severe, Todd walked free with the stroke of a pen, thanks to political connections and a high-profile daughter who lobbied hard for his release. But what's caught people off guard isn't just his early freedom, it's what he's saying now that he's out. Todd came out swinging, talking about how black men are treated unfairly in the prison system. He described how young black inmates were consistently denied access to programs, jobs, and support that he, as a white man, had no trouble accessing. He admitted that the system is deeply racist and acknowledged that his white privilege played a major role in the kind of treatment he received while locked up. In his words, he wanted to use his voice to speak up for the people he met inside, especially black men who have been discarded and forgotten by the system. Some people are here for it. They're saying it's rare to hear a white man with a platform admit to benefiting from systemic racism, especially one who's experienced the system firsthand. They see his comments as a step in the right direction, a potential ally speaking truth to power. And honestly, we all know that voices from privilege tend to get heard a lot louder than those who've been screaming about injustice for decades. So for a few folks, it's better late than never. If Todd Chrisley is going to use his reality TV fame to shine a light on the injustice inside America's prisons, then maybe some good can come out of this mess. But let's be real, others are not buying it. For many in the black community, this feels like another case of a palm-colored man stating the obvious and being praised for it. Black people have been saying for years that the prison system is designed to punish them more harshly and more often. Water is wet. The sky is blue. And yes, the justice system is racist. This isn't groundbreaking news. So when Todd starts talking about how unfair things were for black inmates, some people are side-eyeing him like, where have you been? It's not that what he said is wrong. It's that it's not new. The frustration comes from the fact that these same observations, when made by black men and women, are often ignored and dismissed.
To watch Todd Chrisley at that press conference today talk about how he was in that federal prison camp in Pensacola, Florida, and he said he was locked up with hundreds of black men who were treated terribly, who didn't get the same treatment he did, that didn't get the same privileges he did, that hasn't seen their family in over 2 years, how the guards treated them badly, and how now he is going to fight to change the federal government prison system and bring awareness to the discrimination, the racism, and the unfair treatment in the federal government system of prisons. That made me cry, because for so long we have talked about, we have cried, we have begged, we have pleaded and said that the federal government and the jail system, the prison systems, are not fair, and they don't treat everybody equally and the same. They give people who do the same crimes different amounts of time and charges based off their skin color, and that's not fair.
And then there's the elephant in the room, his release. Todd is out of prison not because he served his time or showed remorse, but because he's palm-colored and well-connected. That's the part that really has people angry. While he was granted a pardon, there are countless black men still sitting in prison right now for minor drug offenses, shoplifting, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Men who didn't steal millions of dollars, men who didn't defraud banks or lie on loan applications, and yet they've been sentenced to 15, 20, even 30 years with no signs of mercy. So when Todd talks about how unfair the system is, people can't help but point out the irony that he's only being able to speak about it now because he benefited from that very system. Still, there's something to be said about visibility. Whether we like it or not, when a high-profile white person speaks about issues of injustice, it often gets more coverage and traction than when black activists say the same thing. It's frustrating, but it's the reality of the media machine. So while many are skeptical, some are choosing to see this as an opportunity. If Todd's voice can help expose the conditions that black men face behind bars, maybe it will spark a wider conversation. Maybe it will make a few lawmakers uncomfortable. Maybe it will lead to action, not just words. But make no mistake, accountability is key. If Todd is serious about prison reform, then he needs to back it up with consistent action. It just can't be interviews and soundbites. He needs to use his platform to support legislation, raise money for legal aid groups, and highlight individual cases of injustice. He needs to put in the work, because black folks have been doing that for generations, and they didn't need to go to prison to see the truth. And at the end of the day, this whole situation is a mixed bag. On one hand, it's frustrating to see yet another palm-colored celebrity benefit from a broken system and get praised for pointing out the cracks. On the other hand, if his voice can help amplify the issue, then maybe there's a silver lining. But no one's forgetting the fact that there are still thousands of black men behind bars, serving decades for crimes far less serious than the ones Todd Chrisley was convicted of. So the real question isn't whether Todd knows best, it's whether he's going to do better. Words are one thing, actions are another. Time will tell if this was just a headline or the beginning of real advocacy. Until then, people will continue to watch with cautious eyes, and rightfully so.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but Kandi Burruss is currently in a bit of backlash right now after publicly supporting the Chrisleys and their pardon from Donald Trump. Twitter account Real Bravoholic posted this photo, and it shows Kandi in Chase Chrisley's comment section talking about congratulations after their presidential pardon. Most people know why the Chrisleys were arrested, but they were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion, defrauding Atlantic community banks out of more than $36 million in fraudulent loans. So originally Todd was sentenced to 12 years and Julie was sentenced to 7. But again, they got pardoned from Trump. However, Kandi did address the backlash, especially on Twitter. She's been getting annihilated, I've been seeing. So she said, "What's the problem? Todd and I were cool before he had this legal issue. I'm happy that him and Julie are out of jail. What are you guys pressed for? Me being happy for them has nothing to do with my political beliefs." Yes, but I don't know. This isn't the best look for Kandi. I agree that you should stand beside your friends and you should show loyalty. I don't think you should be afraid to speak out because of public perception. However, what do you guys think?
So what do you all think? Was Todd Chrisley being sincere or strategic? And should his early release disqualify him from speaking on the injustices he witnessed? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video about Target losing $12 billion in its recent evaluation loss following the boycotts. And if you enjoy such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.